And we are live. What is up, guys? Praxeology Prodigy back with another Red Pill rant. Today we have an interesting stream. Today I have Mr. Frech OG. Met him on Twitter. He's an ex-PUA, and if you guys don't know, I find all this RP, manosphere kind of topics very interesting, and he has very interesting takes that I thought I would share with you guys today. And what better to have the man himself kind of explain and give context behind everything that's going on right now. So, Mr. OG, how have you been?
Been good. Well, thank you very much for bringing on this pod and introducing me to your community. So yeah, I was quite excited to actually exchange with you with different questions you have and different topics you want to bring forward.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
No, first time.
First time? Cool. All right, man. So let's jump right into it without further ado. First question, okay? How did you get yourself into this quote-unquote self-improvement and self-aware knowledge side of things, right? Was it caused by a self-awakening? Like, did you go into the middle of the desert and take DMT and realize, yo, this is all a matrix type thing? Or did you get like heartbroken? And because I saw a story that you tweeted that when you were 17 you sent flowers to this girl and you kind of got made fun of, I guess, is the conclusion I can extract from that. What was the thing that led you to this side of the internet?
It's an interesting story, but with me, I learned by my mistake rather than learning from other people. Not very wise, but generally it tends to stick better. It's a funny journey that I went through because I originally what I wanted was very basic. I wanted to get girls, but not like relationship. Just wanted to dip my biscuit.
Yeah.
In many different parts.
Right.
So from that perspective, I was like, okay, so let me understand about NLP. Let me understand about game. Let me understand about psychology, and as well as style. Luckily enough, I'm taller than average. I'm above 6 feet. So that helps.
Oh shit! Fuck, man.
So yeah, above 6 feet. I as well. I mean, face-wise, I wouldn't be called a Chad or a Tyrone. More like a high-tier normie, if you understand the black pill type of terminology. And broad shoulders. So I had some stuff going on for me. It's not like I started from the ground up with a lot of handicaps. But originally, I think that one of the things that really shaped my original blue pill vision of things was I would say something like a loving mother. So it's almost like you project other girls as what your mother was, and then you get hit with reality that it's not really the case. So over time, I basically started to make mistakes on the game side of things, but I started getting a lot of bodies, shall we say. And then it's funny because a red pill came after a heartbreak, and game without the red pill is it's basically going to war without an armor. Yeah, you're gonna kill people, but you're gonna get yourself maimed if you don't understand some key facts. When you don't really care because you're just looking at increasing the amount of bodies, just almost it was validation seeking. Well, it was, but not almost, it was. But afterwards, it's like once you really feel like, oh my God, this girl's, I really get her vibe. She's exactly like me, my alter ego. It's like, yeah, I can actually see something. But I didn't really care about that person, and I keep on doing what I was doing. But then I felt like, oh damn, there's something. I feel like I missed out with that person, so I kind of reached out back again, but didn't work. And then, but still living in limerence. And that basically made me discover the red pill and trying to understand more about, other than just the surface level that you would get with game, how everything is broken down. And afterwards, that led me to going down the rabbit hole of different pills and looking at how I can become more empathetic upon the other sex, and not only upon what I want to get from them, but also where they're coming from, to get like this overall holistic view of things.
Okay, and thank you for that. That breaks down a lot here. And I have a question just to follow that up. How exactly did you go down this quote unquote rabbit hole of going through different pills? Did you read books? Did you just go out and experience things like relationship wise and thought, well, maybe I will try the religious route, go to church, find a religious girl, or maybe I'll just go to the bar and try to, PUA, something I just learned on like a video. How did you actually learn this knowledge and implement it in your real world experience?
So when it comes to game and PUA, yeah, I learned a bit from, let's say, the bit of mystery method, a bit of the book The Game. But I would say the biggest influence I've had was from the RSD people, like Real Social Dynamics, especially in the early 2010s when they had very good material, and I was basically
That's a
gaining the
throwback.
knowledge.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I was, and I remember there was Julian, there was Todd V. So I was picking a bit of things from each of those, but over time I just realized, okay, well, I have to develop my own style. And there was something that some instructors were saying that, yeah, I was doing, but it just didn't feel congruent enough. And I was like, okay, fine. I need to develop my own style. And then when I developed my own style, things flew naturally. You use the knowledge that is being shared by those people as a baseline, but then it must not be a baseline, because at the end of the day, every people has a different type of personality. Like you have an archetype, even from a looks perspective, and you have to embrace that. And people will put you in those archetypes, and yourself understanding your archetype and understanding the mindset that go along with it. This is how you'll gain more traction. Well, that's my theory. But when it came to the red pill, it's after that heartbreak that I obviously by then I had so much experience with women that I didn't really need to interact with as many women as much. I still did, but it was me retracing the information that I got from the red pill, mostly from the Rollo Tomasi book, or even from a very good book from Coach Greg Adams, which is Free Agent Lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
That enabled me to look back at things, and it's like, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. It was not something that I read and I'm just basically projecting onto to a life I have not lived. And when it comes to, but the problem I would say that the red pill has is, if you don't have experience with women, it will most likely turn you into someone who's gonna hate women. Some people may say I'm a misogynist, and to some degree I can agree with that, but it's not coming from a position of lack. It's coming from a position of abundance, where I know where I'm going to get involved with them, and expecting other things from them and what they're going to give you is not doing yourself any favors. And I wouldn't suggest people read red pill before they start dating, because it will most likely give you handicaps versus game. Red pill is the defense mechanism against potential manipulation from women. But if you want to actually understand a woman better in order to get them, read game.
So what do you call yourself right now? I know this gets thrown around easily, like, oh, I'm red pill, oh, I'm black pill. If you could put yourself in a bubble, right? What was your main label, like the number one above all? Would you be a PUA? Would you be red pill? What would you call yourself?
Well, I think that's maybe the thing about my position. Is is I'm in between things at the moment. And when it comes to ideology, I would say I'm in between the black and the red pill. So I like to call it Burgundy pill.
What was that?
um,
What?
Burgundy, like the
Burgundy
wine.
pill.
Burgundy.
Really? Holy shit. Burgundy.
I did not trademark it.
Yo, that's a good one. What the fuck? Yo. Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you're in between red pill and black pill, kind of. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
red pill.
Interesting. Okay. Expand on that.
Um,
Expand on that, please.
all right. Yeah, of course, of course. So the reason why I say this, especially in the stage of the current dating marketplace, is in the red pill, they say money, status, game.
Trinity. Yeah, looks, money, status,
yeah,
network, whatever, you name it. Yeah.
exactly. It really depends what you want. If you're looking for shags, if you're looking for short-term flings, focus on looks. Looks 100%. The dating market at the moment is completely overtaken by dating apps. Everything is digital. I'm originally much more of a in real life person, and I've seen that shift happen after the COVID lockdowns. And girls that were like fives and six that basically were like, my bread and butter back then, right? It's like been easy for me. Started acting like eights and nines. I was like, what the hell?
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, what is happening? And then, like, even when I was doing in real life interaction, I was still getting results, but it was like much more hard work. And I was starting to basically look at things. And even I had some friends who are Chads. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any real life Tyrone friends. And they were telling me that the game got a bit harder as well. And because the reality is you have competition from all those dating apps or social media from a lifestyle perspective, where basically girls can easily, they don't need to go out without, to go out to places as much. They can get invited, especially the top ones. They can get invited to nice places. I remember one day, I was in this high-end club in a nice area in London, and like hooked up with this girl. She was gonna invite me back to her friend's place uh, with another guy, but the other guy basically couldn't make it. Whatever, she lost the other guy, so that kind of like she didn't want to bring me where the other friend was not getting the other guy.
Yeah.
But she wanted to see me again, right? And I was like, all right, cool. Let's meet up on Tuesday. Tuesday come 1 hour before we meet. She got invited to London the football derby in like one of those box area. And I thought it was bullshit. Then I took a look at her Instagram story, and I'm just like, fuck me. I was just screaming. I mean, damn. I'm like, F me. Like, I'm, I've literally been bypassed by a guy that basically, most likely she didn't know of much, but because she posted herself on Instagram, she got that option. So I was like, okay. And yeah, and looks, as I've seen people with barely any game just get girls so easily. Like I saw some messages on dating apps so cringe. I was just like, wow. But at the same time, lifestyle comes in such a great lifestyle above money is such a big influence factor, because now girls just want to basically IG flex, go on all those nice venues or all those nice trips. So they're going to be filtering hard. When it comes to money, yeah, for long-term purposes. But if you're looking for long-term, yeah, if you want to look for long-term girlfriends, yeah, focus on money. Looks to some extent, but not as much. Game to make sure that you're not going to be gamed out of your money. But the younger they are, the more looks you have to focus. The older you get, the more money you have to focus. That's why I stand.
Yeah. So let me ask you: is that part of where you said your black pill came in after that story with that girl that
Yeah.
you were
Mm,
that she fucking
No.
went? Or was it a
No,
multiple things?
it was before. It was before, because
Okay.
I remember I was like before the COVID event. Like for me, I know this guy, right? Like I've been going out with him, and he's awkward as f when he's going to bars, and I mean worst wingman ever. But he's a good-looking chap.
Mm-hmm.
Good-looking chap.
Yeah.
Uh, and And at the end, it's like, but when it came to Hinge or other dating apps,
Yep.
he was basically lining them up like nobody's business. And I looked, and we shared like some text stuff, and it was cringe as a f. I was like, all of these stuff that I've learned over time when it comes to game and everything get completely bypassed by just good pictures, a little bit tongue-in-cheek type of profile, and then they would come straight to his. And because he was good looking enough to pass that threshold, because it's like if you look at girls, you have, let's say, the 8+ and the rest. But in between 7 and 8, there's a big gap. There's a big gap. And basically the same with guys. It's like you can be a 7 as a guy, but you can be an 8 as a guy, and you're not gonna get the same treatment. That's where you see it's like. And I had 2 other chat friends who I know basically literally were ordering girls back to theirs. Like that. Not even needing to get them on the date. Whereas with me, I always had to, either it was first night lay on a night out, which was basically like 70-80% of my lays, and the 20% was from dates. That's it. And when I saw that basically was playing on easy mode for them, I realized how real the black pill was.
So after seeing it, not only just hearing it, but seeing it in real time with your own eyes, seeing that less is more for women from these experiences,
Yeah.
you kind of took the black pill in that route.
Yeah, I mean, there's this other guy that I go out with, and he's good looking. I nickname him Jon Snow, but higher taller than Kit Harington. And it's it's so funny because we went out a few times, and we were a good team. What happens is, like, I used to basically go and approach a girl, start to get like a lot of traction with her. I can see that there was the vibe going on, all this, all that. And and I invite him to join in, and generally she's with a friend or two, whatever. And as soon as he came in, I was gone. I was gone.
Yeah.
And all the were towards him, and he has a good game. I mean, it's not like less is more with him, and literally it was they were flocking to him. It was so bad that I also called him Ex Machina. And on a couple, I think it's 3 or 4 times in a row, the girl that I originally spoke to on the night, he ended up sleeping with her, and she literally like threw herself at him. And when you see that firsthand, you realize that game is not as good and as important as it is. And I'll make this statement.
Okay.
If you're an 8+ Chad, you need basic level of game. Basically, don't be socially awkward. If you're 7, with game, you can mug a Chad with no game or with little game. But if you're a 6 with game, you cannot mug a Chad with little game. That's the big difference.
So there's a balance, basically. You're saying there's a balance and there's like an unbalanced kind of thing. So it's gonna be a lot for me to fucking write down here. So Chad with an 8+ Chad with little game can fucking pull handsomely. 7, I guess in that scale with more game will pull more than the Chad with little game. Is that right?
No. So when I say by mug, say for example, like I'll give that example, right? Say my friend who literally go with them girls is an 8, right? But he has little game, little to average game, and myself I'm a 6 and good game. But the gap in looks is so much that game doesn't compensate for that gap in looks. However, if you're a 7, if I was a 7 in looks and he was an 8 in looks, and the delta in the game level is there to the benefit of the 7, then he will be able to be with a girl. Do you get what I'm saying?
I see. Okay. Get a girl. I see what you mean. But, okay, so this is actually kind of touching in on something I wanted to bring up later. which was Trinity. I guess we can just, since we're on the topic right now, and you did kind of touch on Trinity earlier. The thing about the red pill that I like is that it does have these, I guess you can say, thresholds that someone would want to reach, because when we first met, actually, it was on a tweet that I saw you tweeting about the red pill, and something I want to, let me not misquote you here. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but it was something along the lines of men need to be content, and I said, well, men need to work on Trinity. Why would they want to be content, right? Otherwise they're going to be in this little situation where some guy will be like a 6, right? And maybe he has a little dad belly or some shit, and he's just maxed out on game or network, whatever you want to call it, on Trinity, and now he's missing out on these other parts, right? So basically, what are your thoughts like on Trinity, right? You said a guy should be kind of content. Can you expand on that a little more?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting you bring that forward, because it can be subject to a lot of misunderstanding. It's about having that entitlement mentality. Obviously, there must be too much of a distortion between your entitlement and where you actually stand in real life. It's about, because the main drawback of having those type of metrics that you mentioned in the red pill is you will not feel as worthy if you have not reached them, per se. And what happens is that, say for example, you're a guy, you're reaching good body fat percentage, you're reaching good money status, you're reaching somewhat of a status within your work, or with what's gonna happen, especially if you do that within your headspace of, if I reach those stages, I'll be worthy of girls. That is basically putting yourself into a trap. That's putting yourself into a trap where you don't feel worthy enough for girls as you are now. And maybe if you don't basically reach that level, even if you reach that level and you don't get the result that you hope within that level, it's going to be twice as more damaging for you as an individual, where your self-esteem is only derived upon external outcomes. However, it is a good thing to follow those type of metrics, those type of goals, but you must do that for you, not for the outcome that you hope to derive from those outcomes you seek, in terms of the Holy Trinity you said. Because you'll realize that a lot of guys, especially in the game, the PUA sphere, they get the girls without even actually being those successful emblems. Game, to be honest, most of it is being at the right place at the right time. He's a fun guy that can banter, that can teaser, and that can create that type of environment, i.e., logistics, where you can actually get her to your place and do what you need to do. Whereas a lot of guys that, let's say, have reached a certain level when it comes to money, feels, or even like status, and you'll hear a lot of girls say that, is they will feel they'll need to bring forward the fact that, oh, I'm a director at XYZ bank, or I make this amount of money. And what does it look like? It looks like try hard. And it's hard to disentangle yourself as a person that's worked hard to reach that level as not part of your identity. And if you make that your identity, it is going to be hard for you not to communicate it overtly. And when you communicate with girls, you have to communicate it covertly.
Covertly, yeah.
She needs to get to that information without you having to say it.
Yeah,
so
DHV.
that then after, so that then they feel like, oh, there's more to him, and there's that thing. Whereas if you say it straight up, then be like, oh, he's trying to basically sell himself to me. Like, nah.
He doesn't just get it, right?
Exactly. It's not because you got the Holy Trinity that you get it.
Yeah. It's so weird how their nature is almost like schizophrenic, right? In Rollo's book, he says it best, where they want something, like you said right now, shown to them, like demonstrate, do not explicate. But it's also, if you do show them like a lot of love and whatever, they're kind of gonna like spit in your face. I saw one of your tweets recently too. You guys kind of expanded on that. That it's weird how the more you show a female love towards her specifically, she's gonna turn into a different person.
Yeah, it's all about leverage and power. I
Hmm.
don't know if you have any of you have the female boss, but generally they don't manage to willpower well. And there's also another thing, which is especially in today's hookup culture, is a lot of girls have low self-esteem. Therefore, what happens is that if she thinks she's shit, and if she thinks she's rubbish, if she thinks she's rubbish, then you making her think she's not rubbish maybe makes her think that you're more rubbish than she is for not actually seeing what she's seeing in herself. And it's almost like you have to entertain, and it's very toxic, where you have to entertain that low self-esteem almost with trauma bonding or through type of toxic behavior of ignoring but then reassuring, so that she feels alive with you, but at the same time you're not giving her that validation
Hmm.
that gives her the power that she then feels she's above you.
Yeah.
And it's a tricky situation. That's why you never bring on your vulnerability to women, because otherwise
Yeah.
you they will they will store it in their hard drive, and trust me, 5 years down the line they'll still remember what you said on what date and what time.
Hmm. Right. No, everything you just said right there was like I couldn't have summed it up perfectly better than that. It's basically RP awareness in a lack of a better term, right? Because yeah, no, it's a weird nature and it's a weird balance that you're gonna have to find. And I kind of want to go back on a topic you mentioned early on. So you said when you're going out, you called it validation seeking when you're trying to pursue the opposite gender. Why is it validation seeking and not trying to improve oneself with understanding the other female's nature, right?
Yeah. You want me to expand on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to validation seeking, you'll tend to find that guys that tend to be on the PUA side of things were not necessarily the heartthrob at school. They were not necessarily the one that were the most popular. It's coming from a sense of lack that they need to build something in order to reach what they didn't get when they were younger. And that's generally, this is that sense of lack that drive guys into reaching new heights. So for naturals, for guys that have always had girls, they never really need to feel the need. They really need to feel. They need. They are, sorry. They never felt the need to have that extra level of knowledge. It always came naturally, i.e., chat. And what happens is that because of that sense of lack, you just think, am I enough as a guy? No, I need to have X body count, or I need to sleep with X amount of women. And whenever I slept with one woman, that was kind of like one XP plus to my self esteem. And one of the biggest pitfalls that many PUA guys can fall under is deriving your sense of self worth from actually having sex with women. And once you realize that actually most of the women that you have sex with, it was more of due to the circumstances and you making it easier for her and you triggering some key points uh, that actually made her have slept with you. It's not because you were special. It was because you knew how to maximize the opportunity at a given point in time at a given place. It's like making a sale. Is your salesmanship only relying upon, I would I say, taking orders? No, it's when there are more variables involved, which there are more hurdles. And the more you do that, and the more you're relying upon those external factors to impact your self-esteem, the more it actually can work against you.
But what if someone is just trying to learn female nature, right? They get RP and they want to learn female nature at first hand because we also get a lot of people online the misconception. Well, I mean, it is true. There's a lot of people that RP masturbate and don't try to actually go out there, and they go down this rabbit hole that you said earlier of becoming true misogynists and not understanding that females are the way they are because of their biology, and not because they're some evil creature sent from hell. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Why
Yeah.
can't it? Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. Why? Can you please finish the question?
Why can't it be that we're just trying to improve ourselves and practice so we can be perfect at this game that we're constantly playing, that we know and understand it will never end?
It will never end, but there's always the solution of simplicity. It's like I was talking with my brother yesterday, and we're talking about human nature and our propensity for laziness. It's an easy way, it's an easy get out way. I mean, it's an easy get out kind of thing. Women are evil, women are this, women are that, to kind of explain our own failures with them, and gives you even more of some type of ideological legitimacy uh, for you not to do anything with them. Can I say that there could be a part of wisdom in it? Maybe, because if you look at things from a perspective of, well, what is the likeliness that your relationship is going to work in the end over the course of 10, 15 years? Not likely. Is it harder to keep a relationship now than it was 34 years ago? Of course. Then you ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Arguably, no.
Yeah,
Well,
nowadays,
that's
no.
my
Right?
exactly. Arguably, no. It's like, and then you'll come to the situation where, okay, see, so if I'm not into long-term relationship, maybe short-term relationship, okay, fine. And then what happens is after you reach a certain level of bodies, you feel like a sense of void. Well, personally, I did. Um, and you think, is that it? It's like, might as well just basically, wank off to PURN. It's just, it comes to that stage, and you then, for those people that become RP aware, it really depends which position you became RP aware of. Was it because of a heartbreak after a divorce, or after completely just intellectual curiosity? It's tricky if you've not had. It's tricky if you've not lived the experience with a lot of women, and it can be an easy way for you to kind of like just say, you know what, I'm not gonna get involved. But to be honest, you'd be surprised that it's kind of a crutch for a lot of guys. We like to joke. Me and my friends. Most guys, whether they're men going their own way, red pill, they're just one DJ away from going back to the plantation anyway. So
Right. So, what do you say that to avoid that feeling of that voidness? And this is what I resonate a lot with the RP, is that to prevent that feeling of emptiness or just trying to get self validation, validation seeking, there's something you've heard of the term, right? Burden of performance.
yeah,
When you accept the burden of performance, I basically see it as, okay, someone is on their purpose. Someone is trying to someone understands, look, I'm here on this earth not to just sport fuck and go around being this Chad or whatever. I have something to do, but on the side, I'm not gonna be a fucking angel nun, and I'm not gonna just not fuck, right? So
yeah.
the thing that I think about that, and I hope this doesn't come off as basically like a disrespectful manner, but whenever I hear that, like, oh, I feel like voided, I think, well, you don't fully accept your burn of performance. You don't fully accept trying to max out your Trinity and trying to improve yourself, because we know there's a game that's constantly going to be playing 24/7, whether we want to play the game or not, right? The simplicity factor, I know you mentioned, well, simplicity in this case can be bliss, but also I wouldn't want to sit here and say, well, I already did everything. I already fucked as much bodies as I could this year. I'm just going to kind of give up because there's no point. I think burden of performance, like accepting that, would kind of keep your mind away from quote unquote validation seeking or feeling this void, and keep you going to eventually, hopefully one day, get to that point of mastery so you can fulfill the simple life, if you want to call it, of love and war archetype or blue pill dreaming, whatever you want to call it. But you know what I mean? Like
100%, 100%. And it's very good that you brought this point forward, because when I was doing, like most of the PUA thing, or whatever we want to call it, um, is because it was kind of like my main priority was this, and there was no real purpose behind it. And even if, and especially if you want to be in a long-term relationship where your focus cannot be on many different girls, it's going to be on one girl. You need to have your focus diverted into a higher sense of purpose, where otherwise the girls will feel like, oh, you're too much on her back, or oh, he doesn't have anything else other than me. Well, what am I doing with him? It's important both for your mental health, both for a diversification of what matters to you, because if you hold too much interest towards a person, it's too much for her to carry, whether it's a guy or a girl. It's just natural. It's you can't blame women for that. Um, and the burden of performance, going back to what we're talking about, being, looking for the Holy Trinity, you have to do it for yourself, not for the benefit that you will get out of it. You will get out of it.
Right. I think we're on the same page on that. I don't think whenever a red pill, or a true red pill, I would consider myself a true red pill. Whenever we say maxing out Trinity, I don't think we go at it as, oh, just so I can get pussy. I think it's maxing out Trinity for ourselves, right? So we can go ahead and play the game in the sense of that, like, sexual market value 8 Chad with good game. We can just live life kind of on easy mode when we do that, because then we get to that point where we're like, all right, now we have a fair playing field. Now, because I'm 5'5", I'm a short motherfucker, bro. I'm a midget, So for me, I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna sit here and try to play against this Chad that can provide a Lamborghini, a yacht lifestyle. I'm gonna focus on my burn of performance, so that way, eventually, once my Trinity's like high enough, now we can be on the same playing field. I know, like, that I've worked on my game. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or anything, but I just wanted to give a little red pill take on this. So, and also, how you mentioned naturals don't really improve. I think that's a beautiful thing about guys that don't naturally just get it, or aren't natural with women, that we get to this level of understanding we need to get better. Otherwise, we're just going to be where our bloodline is going to cease to exist because we didn't adapt to how the things are in modern times. And it kind of, again, going back to people that don't accept the burn of performance, I think those people, they're kind of just, I would consider them blue pill, because there's always something to do and strive for. And rather than just sit around and cry about, oh, well, this girl doesn't like me. Well, there's clearly something wrong that, you can improve on. Everyone can improve on anything. Even that 8 Chad, they can improve on something to become, close level of Trinity.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off at all. No, I mean, you said right. It's kind of like if you expect a girl to like you for you, it's kind of very blue pill orientated. And yeah, it's one of those where, like, it's not easy, as a 5'5" guy, and I would say the best thing you can do as a 5'5" guy is, money maxing, just creating that lifestyle, creating the whole setup for you to enjoy life overall, and have girl on the side, but really more as a marginal side, and even for natural and chads. And to be honest, most chads, they're not that successful because they never had that drive to be successful, because they always had, girls going and flocking to them. And it's great when you're in your 20s. And what happens is guys would most likely would live with a mattress, a TV, a fridge, and that's it. If it was not basically girls looking
for hypergamy. Yep, I saw that tweet too. That's a
hypergamy.
fucking beautiful tweet. Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what? I'll give you a personal anecdote, right? So I had this girl over on Friday evening, Saturday. She left around Saturday afternoon. Before she left, we watched an episode of Selling Sunset. Yeah. And no judgment here, all right? But what was there? It was a bunch. I don't know if do you know about Selling Sunset on Netflix or not?
No, I don't really watch shows like that. I just like watch movies for content for like the YouTube channel.
All right, perfect. Well, what's interesting is like this real estate agency. They're originally based in Los Angeles, and now they, like, on the episode that I saw, it was based in Cabo. What was special about it? So funnily enough, you had like all those real estate agents were a little typical type of dolled up Californian girls or girls that moved to California. And when I say the stage just before prostitution is real estate agent when it comes to women. So you look at them and they were like all easily 7+, tall, thin, good looking face, good looking figures, like literally, like you just, like if a guy say he would not, I'd be like, yeah, stop the cap.
Yeah.
Anyway, but what's interesting about that is the owner of that real estate agency
Yeah.
are the Oppenheim brother, two Jewish brothers, both of them 5'6", bald as well. But even though they're 5'6", they're in good shape. They're in good shape.
Okay.
And the girl who was watching the show was saying to me, asked her, it's like, did he bang any of them? Oh yeah, he went out with this girl, and he banged like this and this girl, and both of them. But it was literally their personal harem, the real estate agent that they hired.
Yeah.
And obviously there must be and now the guy is going, one of them is his girlfriend, I think it's called Jason Oppenheim, and his girlfriend is this German model that is basically borderline 6 feet, and he's 5'6".
Yeah.
Goes to show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly what you said.
Trinity. Yeah. And the guy's bald. I have a full head of hair, man. I'm a hairy motherfucker. I'm a hairy motherfucker. That's funny though. Stage before prostitution is real estate agent. Yo, what the fuck? Bro, I have so much questions here. We went on like a fucking tirade there. Let me, because you mentioned a lot of things in the beginning that I really want to expand upon. This is awesome. I want to go back to what you mentioned about the red pill. That guys that aren't that are red pill, but also practicing the red pill, and its teachings aren't necessarily misogynist, but some people that red pill masturbate online and just talk, oh, red pill this, red pill that, they tend to borderline misogyny, and I would say eventually go into complete black pill. And then you said yourself, you consider yourself RP, but you said something about like you would kind of consider yourself misogynist, but can you expand on that? Because I don't think anyone that's genuinely RP and understands the material can ever be a misogynist. I honestly think that guys that are RP aware, they know that it's a female's biology that runs their body and hypergamy, and we have to accept these things and we have to appreciate them for doing that, because otherwise, like you said in that tweet, we would be in our fucking apartment with a little mattress on the floor with our PS5 on a little table from Walmart, and it's hard to think someone would sit and cry over a female wanting to better her life and the species too. Because if you had a daughter, right? Imagine you had a daughter, beautiful little daughter there. You really wouldn't want her to marry off to someone that's like bummy and cruddy, that's just content with what they have, their 1-bedroom apartment. You would want her to get someone at least on your level if you're at this point a high value man, right? Or someone better than you, because you don't want her to pass on your genes with a fucking loser bum. Man, maybe sure alpha fucks genetics to get you the 6 foot tall, but you know what I mean? What's the point if they don't have the adaptability? Go ahead, my bad.
No, it's fine. No, it's like a lot of guys that say hypergamy is bad. Hypergamy is bad. Well, yeah, because you just don't get benefits from it. The thing that has happened over the course of the past, let's say 5, 10, maybe 15 years, is that it has gone to levels that are completely ridiculous, where everything is at the extreme, a bit like the accumulation of wealth by the top 1%. The thing that, when it comes to my misogyny, it's a bit double-edged, because on the one hand, I 100% believe that hypergamy is the best for the species, as you mentioned, when it comes to you want the best for your daughter, you want to understand women basically want to be with someone that is good for them, that can support. But at the same time, the level under which hypergamy has gone in today's world, where and it can also be explained by the cost of life, by how everything is getting more expensive, and how jobs are just above broke, basically. That's what a job stands for.
Yeah.
A lot of women looking at a guy as a bailout, and it comes to a situation where actually I look at relationship as almost proxy prostitution, where
Okay.
you have a guy, honestly, you have a guy that literally needs to have like everything set up, your house, your this, your that, for her to consider you long-term relationship. Whereas before there was a bit more of like, what, let's build together. There's a common project,
But isn't that
everything,
the
and
easy way out? Isn't that just the lazy man's way of saying, "Oh, I just want pussy and I can just live in my one bedroom apartment. I'll get my girl." Like, isn't that lazy to you?
no, it's not exactly that because I look at things as how they were versus as they are now. I'd say that relationships were better before when a woman would be satisfied with a upper middle class type of lifestyle. Now you're looking at, all right, the top 1% or the top 5% type of lifestyle. And that's fine if you're an 8 or a 9 or a 10 plus. But now you have 5, 6, and 7s that basically think as such as well. And that's where the distortion comes. It's all about balance. What matters is where, like, not everyone can become a 1%er.
Yeah.
Like, this is, not everyone has the same intelligence, not everyone has the same skill set, not everyone has the same talent. So you only need to have people that are going to do middle management jobs, middle class jobs. You have people that be able to do a higher class job. You have great entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. But if hypergamy gets so skewed towards the 1%, then what it's going to create is going to create an environment where by the way, I'm not here for socialism or communism or finding.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, we're not communist guys. We're just talking here, okay? Go ahead, please.
I'm a libertarian at heart. So you find the situation where you see a lot of girls that just go with the top 1% lifestyle, and I've got other anecdotes that are pretty mental, and they get used to that type of lifestyle when they're young, and afterwards, when they go back to their late 20s, early 30s, and they realize that they've not been kept by those 1%er, they have to kind of look down, and then they see Bob's the accountant. So, well, is that what I'm going to settle with? And he could be a good accountant. He could be making 80K a year, 100K a year in dollars. But she will still look down upon him, even though he's made a great thing for himself. So it's not an easy way out. I think that a lot of people, there'll be a glass ceiling for that.
Yeah. And this might sound dark, Triad, in my point of view on this. Look, man, this is gonna sound really dark. I'm not a mean or dark guy. I don't want to come across as this, but doesn't it in the back of your head, you're just like, yes, not everyone can be a 1%. There's gonna be more resources for me, more women for me, all of this stuff, just because I had the balls to go out and adapt and just get it. Now I'm practicing. Now I'm working on my Trinity. Now I'm working on my gym. Now I'm working, like, everything's coming to fruition, and all these losers are gonna miss out on a continuation of their bloodline. I know that sounds dark, but I don't know, man. There's just in the back of my head. No one wants to say it, but I think all RP guys kind of think that to an extent, at least.
Yeah, and it's not. And look, the thing is, I'm not here to make moral judgment as to what is the inner motivation for each and every individual to reach the goal that they're setting. A lot of guys, they'd be like, you know what, I'm going to prove all my teachers or all the people that knew me wrong, and I'm going to basically like make a success of myself to tell them F you. And that, to me, I think that's great. Like, or for example, if you didn't get what you wanted when you were young, so, and you want to look down upon those people that were looking down to you prior. I think that's totally fine. I'm not, the thing, as long as you get the outcome you want, whatever the motivation you got yourself, doesn't really matter as long as you don't let the negativity overwhelm you once you reach that point, that end point. It's like you'll benefit more from enjoying the fruit of your hard work and your hard labor. But if you're living always in that resentment, you will not benefit from it. It's about making that distinction. Get the motivation, whichever one it is, to start and to reach that goal, but don't let it overwhelm you once you reach that goal.
And I wanted to touch upon, yeah, and that's a great point. I really like that. And I hope, again, I don't want to come off across as a bitter man. In the back of my brain, I'm just, those thoughts sometimes come, and I'm like, I like, it's just red pill, man. It's just something. But yeah, no. You mentioned proxy prostitution, and I kind of cut you off when you were explaining it, when you were going into the aspects of, like, different, guys that work themselves up, and then after the bitches get used by those top guys, they go to, like, Bob the accountant. I don't think it's proxy prostitution. I wouldn't, like, the dating marketplace right now, because how can I say this? It's in their benefit to want to exercise hypergamy, albeit it is in extreme unstoppable levels right now, but they've gotten so far, right? It's gone to a point so far. It's like going against their biology, going against their own biology is kind of a big burden to ask of women and expect of them, and it's kind of, I would say, hypocritical, because we want the woman, and so for them to fight their own biology, it would be us not fighting ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that it's only normal that they want the best for them. And obviously, what happened is that you have a flattening of the world through social media, where they get to actually see what they can get with specific type of people that they didn't have. It was not part of their reality. Massive travel, massive. I was in a high-end type of resort like last summer, and I've seen stuff that I would have thought. That really shocked me. I was like, what the hell is happening? It's like you had, like, teachers, nurses, going into all those villas. They were like early 20s and everything paid for. They just go there. They move from one villa to the next. They go to all the restaurants that you find on IGs, get paid for because of the table with the guys and all this and all that.
Yeah.
And it comes to a stage where, or even like a girl in Dubai, basically some guy basically bring on the first date, bring his Lamborghini to pick her up on the first date. Like, that's the threshold. That's the threshold. What happened when it comes to proxy prostitution is that it comes to a stage, for me, I come from a finance background, so I always discount things. And if I look at how much does the price of poon is, and it's like, how much do I need to pay for me to reach the poon? And from the moment that I see that not only there's an increase in price, you have to basically make market comparables. If I just basically ask for a prostitute to have sex with me, am I gaining more in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term? And it comes to a stage where those girls' expectation becomes so high that the prostitution comparable is more beneficial than the date with a girl, because yes, her hypergamy dictates her to do that. But then it comes to the question, do you want to be with a girl that just is there for the infrastructure, the lifestyle, all of this, but not for you? I understand you have to provide, but the providing must not overpower the personality of the person. And I think it was More Plates, More Dates that said, I think you know him. He's like pretty much like one of the lead.
Yeah, I know who he is. Derek, yeah.
Yeah, Derek, right? And I remember him saying once, when you go on a date with a girl, he basically brings some shipwreck of a car. She doesn't know most likely who he is. He is in good, but he doesn't want a girl that is just going to be involved with him just because of the infrastructure and everything they provide. She likes him to some extent, and then he'll bring her onto this world. And it's like that thing. It's all, and that's what happens as well. When I was telling you about the red pill thing, where the Holy Trinity in the red pill, you say yourself, you arrive to that stage where you've got everything, where there's money, the status, the infrastructure.
Yeah.
You'll be proud of it because you worked hard for it. And then what happens is that you will want to showboat and to flaunt it. And yeah, you'll have some gold diggers, and yeah, you'll have some women that are interested in what you're going to be providing. And if you're happy with just that fact, yeah, do that. You'll find the girls. But if you want more, saying that actually the girl likes you to some extent before actually getting to see what she's got to benefit from, then that I wouldn't be advising showboating as much your success, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean, that they're basically dating the Trinity that the guys maxed out. They're not dating the guys for themselves and what they bring and who they are, what their mentality to bring them up to this level. They're just dating the perks that they can reap at that moment and not necessarily the guy. Yeah, I know what you mean. And no, that's a great point too, because you do see some guys that like those in Miami. You see some Instagram stories of people like crypto millionaires and shit, and they're flaunting all that shit, and you're just like, yo, this guy is such blue pill. He's gonna be fucking ran through the ringer, and he's gonna be left for fucking shit. And you start thinking to yourself as well, like, oh, if I was in that shoes, I would definitely like not be like hide it, obviously, but definitely bring more game savviness to it. Like you said earlier, don't show, oh, I'm a doctor, or oh, I'm a high bank manager. Just like let them find out through the day, like, oh, I work at a bank, and they're like, oh, okay, whatever. As the day goes on, someone comes up to you and they're like, boss, yo, how you doing? And they're like, oh, you're a boss, really? Like, oh yeah, I'm just a bank manager. I told you I worked at a bank. You know what I mean? Like those little scenarios where you can play upon and be like game savvy with the Trinity there. I hope
exactly. Yeah.
Huh?
No, sorry, I didn't want to cut you.
No, you're good. You're good. I finished there. I like that. I like that comparison. But I mean, yeah, no, that's a fair point you bring about the proxy prostitution. Yeah, I'm learning so much. Go ahead.
Exactly what you're saying. Like, just I've got some very, very successful finance clients. But what they say is, I work in finance. That's it.
Yeah.
That's just going on to your point. It's that's it. And yeah, like you'll find like a lot of those Miami girls. They get exposed to so much that if you want to go with them, that's fine. And you will only be able to go with them only after a certain threshold of success or whatnot. Because they'll smell someone. And it's about another thing. Like those 4 words: show, don't tell.
Right.
That's it. It's simple, because the moment you need to tell someone is that because you have to, in their head, is because you have to overcompensate for something that you don't have.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, because they're very socially calibrated. Fucking hell.
No.
How are you on time, bro? I don't want to take up all of your day here.
No, I'm fine.
Because I have way more questions and shit. We can go on all night, and I just let me know when you're coming to.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Right.
No worries.
Cool. So next question I have for you is, well, actually, hold on. Let me, because we kind of answered quite a bit here. You already hold on here. Okay, so you mentioned kind of that chasing the Trinity can be a trap for men. What should be a man's proximate goal? What should they work for in the now? And then what should an ultimate goal for a man be at the very end? Right?
What should work is, first they should work toward their freedom. Work toward their freedom, where their freedom.
What, finance freedom? Just freedom from what?
Generally, it comes with finance. I mean, you kind of true freedom when you have to answer to a boss.
Right.
And let's be real.
Right, exactly.
First, freedom from a financial perspective. Ideally, have yourself a baseline, a financial baseline where you basically can live off fixed income. Say you have a certain amount of money, you know that you have a certain yearly outlay, and your capital, the return on your capital can cover that outlay. That's what you want. Say, for example, you make, say you have a 50K per year outlay. Yeah, you need a 5% return on a $1 million capital. Say that's the first thing that you would want to look for, because that financial freedom will give you that peace of mind. When it comes to, but freedom not only from from a financial perspective of freedom from external outcomes, in the sense of you don't want to derive your self-worth from other people. You must know yourself, understand who you are as a person, understand what you stand for, understand what you would accept and what not accept, and understand who are your true friends and who you want within your close circles. Once you understand, okay, this is my castle, i.e. my financial setup. Once you understand, okay, this is my personal ethics, personal morals, that's good. And who are going to be my generals? Who are going to be my friends? Who are going to be the people that I can trust and rely upon? I'd say those are really good things to aim for, for guys, so that they have a strong backbone to face the different type of struggles they will, come across in their life.
So that's a good proximate goal. What would be their ultimate goal after they achieve these two things, which I guess we could say status and network, just to sum those two up?
Yes. Like, I would say the last two would be, I would say, inner sense of self. Like that inner sense is, I would say, it's more mental, because you'll be happy with money. That's not the problem. But you'll find love. Rich people will still feel a sense of lack because they didn't master themselves from psychological standpoint. And when it comes to friends, I was thinking more from a close network as this sense of a wider type of group of people, where I think that you'll have much deeper bonds with a strong core of friends, like maybe 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Whereas network is something that is good to have, especially if you have your own business, but not to rely too much on it because you don't have those strong bonds. But when it comes to goals outside of, let's say, this baseline, it really depends upon the individual and what you want. Some people, for example, really like the idea of a legacy.
Yeah.
Whether it be kids, whether it be the output from the work they've done, may it be a book, may it be an ideology, many different things.
Yeah.
But I think it's really like on the individual. Some people are very content with very little, and some people want to feel they want to basically impact the world they live in.
I see. So is that bad to try to want a legacy and just master the inner sense of self and like master oneself with your mental, like with the ultimate?
Like the idea about mastering your inner self is being resilient to the different type of curveballs life will throw at you. It's key because you can find yourself being on the top of the mountain from a financial perspective, from even having all the material stuff you want. But if you're not strong mentally, it's like you could be throwing that all away because something bad happened to you. Your wife left you, your kids hate you, you lose your job or you lose your business, that all of what your inner sense of worth was relying upon.
Zeroing out, basically.
Zeroing out. It's I'll use the example of a former French president of ours called Sarkozy, and he was very American friendly, by the way.
Yeah.
And he had this girlfriend at the time who was not his wife. It was his wife, but then just before he got elected, she ran off with some French magnate that was based in the US. And before he became president, and she didn't want him to become president, he said to her, "Come back, I'm going to throw everything away for you." Well, first of all, that didn't work. She didn't come back. And second of all, he got the presidency. So you say best of both worlds. But you can see that someone that is so successful from a monetary perspective and even from a status perspective, could you expect a Frenchman to basically have a higher status than the French president? No. He was still weak for a specific woman.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay.
And bloody hell, he was persuasive as a guy. So that's why the inner sense of self and work, in the ability for you to feel content and feel entitled is key, even when you have all of this, because you may have it, and I would say most people will more likely get it from reaching the Holy Trinity, but it's not a guarantee. And some people, and I had that sense of self-entitlement when I was a bit younger, when it came to doing all the game and PUA stuff, and that enabled me to get the outcome that I wanted, even though I didn't have the good that I needed. And that's why the tweet was subject to a lot of misunderstanding.
Now, I couldn't help but think, isn't that just him being blue pill? Because I would say once you do at least have a base understanding of RP awareness and accept it, you kind of do master yourself, in the sense of, if you don't have any kind of blue pill thoughts and you kill your inner beta, I think you can consider that self-mastery, because then you have, your dark triad traits just kind of come to fruition, and your solipsism and selfishness kind of go tenfold, and you would think, well, I'm about to be a president, right? Imagine he was red pill. You would be like, well, I'm about to be a president. I have an abundance mindset. There's billions of different females. Do I really need this bitch? Nah, I'm good. I just replaced the bitch. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'll tell you something. Even as a red pill aware guy, sometimes I fall under, I look at, I can easily fall under Oneitis if I don't keep myself, having some
practicing
girls around, because
yeah,
the Oneitis thing is so key, and it's so, how do you say, so damaging for guys. That you can be red pill aware, but you just need one girl to stick out a bit more than the others, and then you realize, whoa, if I don't manage myself, don't self-manage myself, I can fall into blue pill action even though I have red pill awareness.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
I tell you, even myself, recently, I'm like, I need to calm the hell down, because otherwise I'm gonna screw things up. And I think it's one of the tweets that I mentioned. I think I was quoting Myron Gaines from Twitter. Basically, he was saying, he was using the future phrase, "Bitch, be don't."
I saw that tweet. I saw you. Yeah.
And I responded to a guy I follow on Twitter. And it's like, sometimes I need to force myself to act like a complete dick, right? In order not lose her. For her not only for me not to lose her, but also for me to not have her disrespect me.
Yeah.
And that's and you come to that situation where, do I really want to keep on dealing with girls when I have to withhold myself from being actually the true romantic that I am? And that's the key thing, because say, for example, you even reach the Holy Trinity, but at heart you still, you have that red pill awareness, you have this, and short term where you can act a certain way in order to get the outcome you want, but over the long term, do you really want to force yourself to be someone you're not in order to get the outcomes you want? It is an arbitrage that at the moment I'm just thinking, no, not really. I don't want to make that compromise upon who I am as a person just because some girl will act a way that that I won't like, because I am a certain way I am. And that's about that inner sense of worth, that inner sense of self.
Yeah.
It's like, if she doesn't like me, if I'm being nice to her, screw her.
Because Rollo mentions that dichotomy in his chapter of Love and War on the first book, and he also mentions it back on Burden of Performance on his second book. He kind of touches on that the game is never stopping for females. They always want a player two. Go, 24/7 till the day they die. They want indignation. Even after they have you, they want their indignation. They want their constant shit test on you. Their biology is just like, the beautiful thing about the red pill is that once you understand, their biology cannot be turned off. And there's a reason for why they want to try to shit test you and try to push out that, is this guy truly who he is? Did he not just pull a farce on me and just pretend that he's an alpha but he's truly a beta? Because again, when you realize that in evolutionary aspect, they wanted the best genetics and the best security. They want the best mixture of both worlds. Obviously alpha fucks, beta bucks, and if they can have it in one, it's like, for them it's their dream. And it's like a catch-22, but it's also, I can't fathom thinking, well, what am I? Like, who am I truly deep down in myself? Like, I'm me. Like, sure, I'm a romantic, but I'm also not going to quit life. And now that I know there's a game that there's being played, I'm not gonna sit here and be taken as a dummy and be like, oh well, you know what? I'll just kind of take the black pill and quit on everything just because I will never be truly myself. I think that's just like a coward way out, in a sense, because it's just not, it's not realistic. It's too, to me, my male pragmatic brain is just thinking, this is too fantasy. It's too much fairy tale, too much Disney. I don't want to hear it. I don't want, I want to play the game. I accept that they are always going to be throwing shit tests at you. They're always going to want indignation, and they're always going to try to, see, is this really the best I can get? And they're going to practice their hypergamy. So that blue pill part where it's just like, the Oneitis is really strong, especially with that one. I don't know, man. I can't see eye to eye with you on that we have to, like, love ourselves in that sense. I personally think we just got to keep playing the game, and it is what it is. That's just my point of view.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine to expect everyone to agree with everything I think. And I can understand what you're saying. It's kind of blue pill, and it's one of the, actually it's a point that there's another a PUA guy from Twitter called the Angel of Vengeance, I think he's called. I don't know if you've seen him.
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
Anyway, and what we're saying, it was about the 3 level of game. You've got beginner, you've got intermediate, and you've got like high level. And it's kind of like beginner, you got the blue pill type of idea. The blue pill person, oh, she gotta like me for me and everything, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the intermediate, where it's like a shoe horse. Bottom left, blue pill beginner, right? Then you have the intermediate, which is around the round shape thing, where you try a lot of different type of tactics, a lot of different type of, but you have to go through them in order to build yourself to become the advance on the other end of the horseshoe. And there is where you're true to yourself. It's about the just be yourself. Just be yourself can be both at the same time the worst advice but the best advice.
Yeah.
And you will reach that level of just be yourself, but on being very good game wise, after you've gone through all of those intermediate stage of trying, maybe some alpha game or maybe some dark triad, all of this, all that. You'll pick pieces, bits and bobs from all of those different type of technique or strategies to end up with your own on the end bit, on the just be yourself. And then you will embody the thing that represents you the most in order to get the outcomes you want, i.e. with girls. And then the girl that you end up with are going to be the girl that actually embrace those type of those type of characteristics that you display throughout. But when you're intermediate, generally, a lot of time what will happen is that you will find yourself with girls that have been that fell into the farce, if you see what I mean, because you're still developing yourself to become that one end goal of a person. So it's going back to what you're saying, she gotta like me for me. It's not exactly that, but there are a key factor of you that even though you understand yourself, what is lay up the land when it comes to the red pill, when it comes to the hypergamy, when it comes to the love and war mentioned that you said.
Mm-hmm.
But there are key things about you that you will not be able to change. Yes, you can change on the margin, then you can change on the surface. But I am as cynic as you can get, but I cannot stop myself from having that softness about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to do, I think, with my upbringing or with the relationship I had with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm tempering it a bit down, and maybe also why I can fall a bit more. I can be more prone to Oneitis maybe than someone else.
Right. No, I see what you mean. Yeah, because yeah, I think we all love our mothers, but the thing as well is that our mothers bring something different to the table. Like my, not to get too personal, but my mom, I love her to death, but she's just a hen. She just plays the game. You know what I mean? So I've kind of been used to it. Like, oh, okay, I know what she's trying to do. Covert communication, 24/7. Never wants to overt, and she always wants a shit test. So I'm kind of, you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh my goodness, bro. Like,
you can see through it.
Yeah, I can see through it. I'm just like, that's kind. I think to me, like when I read the book the first time, Rational, I'm like, this is what it's all about. This is really what I've been confused about this whole time, really, and it's been right here in front of my face, but I just never put the pieces together. You know what I mean? Again, I love my mom, but she's just a hen, just the fucking hen.
No, I get that. No,
Yeah.
for me, my mom was very, direct in the way she spoke. So that was always, everything was clear cut. So there was not all that double communication, all this. But I can see how it must have resonated with you.
Yeah.
You had that at home.
Yeah. But you mentioned something cool that was interesting, and I wanted to see your take on this. So you mentioned as well, from the proximate part of things, you said having a small, trustworthy, and like loyal group of like 2 to 3 friends max, like, or even a little more, but people that you know will have your back no matter what you go through. Would you say that it would be better to have that small, trustworthy, loyal network, or would you rather have a like-minded community, like a larger community, like the Red Pill or PUA, people that get your position, but you can't necessarily trust them to be there for you in the hard times, or when you're going through a mental epiphany and you say, you know what, I'm starting to think this way. What do you think is like more healthy for someone that's trying to build a network?
Yeah. The thing is, it's very interesting you bring this, because I think you've done nuanced things. Let's say if you want to build yourself to become someone new, someone that, let's say your old friends or like your current friends, known you to be, but you know that it's for the best for you to basically make that evolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd say that the community is there to help you, develop yourself out of that cocoon, grow yourself out of that cocoon.
Yeah.
However, it's about for your close friends to not necessarily agree with everything that they do, but if your close friends, like the guy that they know you, like they have your back for you and everything, they will trust you to basically make the necessary change and their necessary evolution. Not necessarily that they will follow that they will, but if they believe that you know what's best for you in order to reach to that desired end goal of you as a person, they're not gonna cast you out, they're not gonna undermine you, they're not gonna, especially if you reach that stage, they're not gonna be the one basically pissing on you. Like literally, they'll be like the one supporting. Like, look, I don't necessarily understand what you're doing, what you're going through, or this, but if you believe that the community that you're joining at the moment is actually helping you to reach those goals on a personal level, yeah, 100%. However, you can't, as you said, you can't expect from that community, because they don't know you that much or that well, to kind of like be there and support you when you're going, you need
at your
to
low
speak about personal stuff, because as an individual, yeah, exactly, you can't, as a guy, you can't be vulnerable for women and everything, so you need to have like those type of like group of friends, either your strong friend or your community, to help you out. But your community will help you fast track yourself into becoming the person you want to be. your friends will be more. So it's better from, let's say, an aggressive perspective of growing the community. Your
Yeah.
friends can potentially hold you back, but it's about, will they support you regardless of where you're going, as long as they trust you.
Yeah.
So that's my nuance on it.
I like that. I like that take, having like best of both worlds, because they each bring something to the table. No, that's great. And you mentioned as well. So obviously, you said your stance on this is all Burgundy pill, right? And we also had a little back and forth on Twitter about the red pill connotation that the red pill has. I personally consider myself like a complete true RP guy. That's just nothing else. A true RP maxer, I guess you can say. What are your thoughts on the RP crowd? Right. I know that you said that we. Again, I need to bring up the tweets. I need to be better prepared next time. But there's something that it's like about the ideology, or like the community itself is like
Yeah.
like misunderstood. Can you expand on that? You know what I'm talking about? That one
Yeah,
tweet
I
that
know
we had.
exactly. I know what you're talking about, and I remember it's because this tweet, and it was not even the purpose of the tweet, but that created a bit of ruckus amongst some people in the red pill.
Yeah.
It's, you have this idea, like I call it the red pill movement.
Okay.
They say it's not a movement; it's an ideology.
Praxeology.
At the end of the day,
The trueness of
praxeology.
it is a praxeology, just understanding
Yeah.
human nature. Yeah. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, I was like, you know what, call it however you want it, but if you need a rule to say what it is, then it's not what it is. In the sense of, you will have people that become figures of the red pill.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's not a there's not necessarily a leader, but every time someone basically quotes to Rollo Tomassi, he's the first one to basically say, oh, I said this.
Yeah.
It's, oh, you have the quoting system, alright, cool. It's like, oh, but who are those people that you're mentioning? Oh, those people that have all blue ticks. It's like, due to the force of the red pill and the people, some of them making a living of it, some of the other people, creating influence for them through the red pill knowledge, you have generals of the red pill in it themselves that carries this praxeology, but it becomes an ideology just by the fact of the matter that it is shared amongst a wide area of individuals. You have a manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
You have a manifesto. So from the moment that, when your whole existence relies upon one thing, you gotta call a spade a spade. Yes, originally it was not necessarily that, but it became as big as it is. And once it becomes as big as it is, it's like you gotta accept for what it is. It's like Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah.
Was a movement. Were they a leader? No. Was this an ideology? No, it was a patchwork of different people.
Yeah.
No, that. But at the end, it became such a force that it was recognized as a movement.
Right.
And when you think, and it gave me the impression, like, with a lot of red pill people, you almost feel like I don't mean to target anyone. But it gives the idea that it's kind of like the dorks that basically became the cool kids around the blocks, and it's almost like, oh well, the red pill is this, and we've got this Dungeon and Dragon society where we only basically have those people, like the Warhammer guys, at school, where it's like, they have the thing. I was like, oh, if you say something outside of what the red pill docs are saying, you're not red pill. It's like,
yeah.
And in a way, you could see the difference. And if you look at, for example, what happened between the Tates and with
Rollo.
and let's say the Rollo, right?
Yeah.
You can tell who was the original cool kid at the table, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell the kid that were not the cool kid that was brought onto the table. And don't get me wrong, I think Rollo has got great material, and I think he's got his books have been, earth-shattering for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So like that, I respect that. But somehow, it's like you can tell that he's trying to play catch up for all the things that he didn't have when he was younger, like the fame, the status, all this. Whereas you can see that someone like Tate embodies the alpha male, embodies the masculinity, embodies the fact that he's a player.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to go to a different type of podcast to get girls associated with him. He created already that environment. And that's why I feel with a lot of red pill guys, they were not the cool kid to begin with, so it's almost like they need to keep that environment where they're somewhat the influencer of that environment without calling it an environment.
Oh,
Like,
I see where you're coming from now. Okay, I see. Okay, because there's like a misconnect here. Because a reason for like, because I would put myself in that group that you're saying, oh, the cool kid on the block, that, oh, this and that. And I'm kind of, I'm sorry to cut you off here. Please hold that thought.
I
But
was done. I was done. Please.
the reason, well, my reasoning for at least trying to make things clear of what I am is because there's a lot of labels being thrown around, and not in the sense that, oh, you're not red pill, I don't want you to be part of this thing. Like, no, if someone goes out, reads the books, and understands the basic fundamentals of the red pill, like reads the books, the roller books, and knows basically what this is all about, and not trying to, bring in like some blue pill ideology along with them. It's just the matter is that right now the perception is, oh, these red pill guys are misogynist, these guys hate women, these guys hate themselves, these guys this and that, and it irks at you because you're not that. You love women and you understand them and you appreciate hypergamy and you appreciate just about everything about the world, right? How it is, the true nature of what we live in right now. But then when you get thrown those stones at you, you're just like, oh, you're just a bitter guy that, whatever. You're just like, no, man, you're missing the point. You're being ignorant. You don't want to read the material. You just want to kind of be lazily slapping a label on us and say, oh, they're just fucking bitter, angry, misogynist, incels guys, which is like far from it. And also kind of to touch on what you mentioned about Rolo, I don't think necessarily, because I watch Rolo's podcast, he does contradict himself. I'm not gonna lie, he does contradict himself. Some people, he says, like Pearl, he tells Pearl, oh, make sure you quote me or whatever, and then some other guy like Myron that quotes him word for word, bar for bar, he doesn't really care. You know what I mean? So he's a little picky on that shit, which I understand, man. But he said the red pill is open source, so no matter what he says, it is, he said it's open source, so it's open source, right? I'm over here using his material too for some nerdy shit, right? Movie reviews and shit. So and then as for what I was gonna say, it's that those people that throw those labels on us, and or actually any red pill guy, that I know what you mean, that like other guys kind of want it to be a community, but I don't think it's necessarily that sense of they want to be the cool guys on the block, and they want to take this like for, oh, this, we're the cool guys now. I mean, maybe could there be some people, sure, but the guys that truly love the material and are just nerds about it, like me, I'm a nerd, bro. I'm a short fucking nerd. I'm just gonna tell you outright, I'm not a chat. I mean, I'm working on my Trinity, obviously, right? Looks, good, status, network. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, well, you can't join the red pill because the red pill is only for people like me. That's just disingenuous.
No, I mean that's totally fine, and and maybe you're right. Maybe they're not making it. They don't want to keep that as some type of community or anything, but it appears so. If you just look at the example of the tweet in itself, where I was mentioning how the red pill movement could be misguided when it comes to looks, money, and status. I'm a red pill supporter, but the fact that even though I've said stuff pro red pill in the past, they couldn't even focus on the content of the tweet. They were just focusing upon the terminology or use movement. That's not good. It's like, this is very sectorist mindset. This gives the idea of a sect. And even though
I see,
you say that and then everybody was basically spouting the same thing. Who are those leaders? And it's like, it's like the guys that you follow. It was like, it's almost like they felt like NPCs, the people that was following the red pill. And it's almost like you have the generals telling them, this is not a movement, and it's like everybody's like, oh, well, if it's a movement, who are the leaders? I'm just like, come on, guys. I mean, do you have any sense of critical sense? I mean, to me, that was the most ridiculous side of it. But it's, again, maybe they are not the best of communicators, and maybe that's why they don't go on to debate, because that they could easily, even though the ideology is strong, they don't know how to manipulate the word the best way in order to convey the right idea.
If I could, again, please, if I can answer for those fucking NPC dumbasses that just blabber the same thing over and over. because I would kind of consider myself in that crowd. I'm not gonna lie, but the thing is, it's an inside joke. Okay, it's not really. Okay, let me put my words together. Think of what those red pill NPC guys say as an inside joke, in the matter of you have to understand what Rolo and or Myron or whoever else is actually red pill is saying, because yes, it is kind of limited, the red pill right now, with the true red pill, like, quote unquote leaders, right? Rolo Tomasi and the Rule Zero guys. Whenever anyone, because nowadays the mainstream is always attacking the red pill, right? The MSN, they always say, oh, red pill guys. The reason why those quote unquote red pill NPC guys say name our leaders is because they're casting that blanket over anyone that considers themselves red pill as incel, misogynist, this, that hate everyone. And we're like, no, we're not that stuff. We are literally following the source material. We are understanding hypergamy. We're adapting to the sexual marketplace, and we're trying to better ourselves. We're not any of those things you guys are talking about us. And for us to go to one of these MSN accounts, or in this case your account, unfortunately, that was raided by them, they're like, okay, then if we're a movement, name our leaders. Who are our leaders? Because we're kind of sick of being called that shit that we're not really. You know what I mean? And
I know.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
And you see, if it's you, for example, or if you are representative of most of those inside jokers as you're referring.
I'm not representing. I'm just trying to bridge that gap there, because there's a
That's good that you bring that forward. You're acting from a good faith perspective. You're acting from a good faith perspective. Good faith. So, like, you know that the red pill is for the bettering of guys, rather than the misogyny and what is being castigated by the mainstream. And the fact of the matter is, the mainstream is not acting in good faith. So therefore, you know that they're just part of the how do you say, of the landscape, and you should not, and I don't think the red pill should seek validation from the mainstream. And if it does, then I'll be wondering about what's read about it anymore. So being defensive upon that, to be honest, it should be like the red pill should even care less about what the mainstream says. People will fall into it when they deem it convenient, and I'm talking individuals. And generally the mainstream is highly influenced by women, so obviously having Praxeology, giving the handbook to guys as to how women operate is not going to be in their best interest. So you're never going to be accepted by the mainstream. That's the first part. The second part is, look, I'm not like a big Twitter guy. But if you just follow my Twitter timeline, it's very red pill influenced. So if those persons just did a little bit of research, just even looking at the title of the page, they could easily see that I'm actually one of them. And it's like, and if you feel that you have to castigate someone out just because he didn't use the right terminology, well, you're not really helping your case as a praxeology, shall we say? Especially when you say it's open source, you the role.
Absolutely. And just to respond to the validation aspect, I don't think it's necessarily that we want to be validated. Rather, is we know that casting this blanket upon the message or the praxeology, it will lead to the people that are considering like ending themselves, right, or self-deleting, trying to find the truth. They wouldn't think, oh, well, these people are just misogynists. They're not trying to find the truth. They're just, oh, I heard on MSNBC that, oh, the red pill guys just stand for misogynists and incel guys. I don't want to be that. I'm getting a divorce. My wife's taking everything. My kids hate me. I want the truth. And when you cast that upon red pill, we want the correct material to be put forward, not a facade that these words are casting, right? Red pill movement, red pill, whatever terminology that we get in a fuss about, right? Because that terminology in and of itself kind of pushes away those newcomers to get the material to save and help themselves in their position that they're in. Because ultimately, we can thank Rollo for his work, and we know that the work, based off Fresh and Fit alone, that it saved many guys' lives, right? It's helped correct the course of their life. So why are we gonna start, or why are we gonna allow these people to say, okay, you guys are not actually helping people, you guys are hurting women, you guys are hurting yourselves, you guys are narcissists and this and that? Like, no, that's far from it. We're trying to do one thing. We want the correct wording. We want the correct verbiage and wording on us, because the true guys that want to represent, self-help, self-improvement, whatever, it's gonna be hard to come across to those guys that are just trying to awaken themselves. You know what I mean?
No, and it's very good that you point out this, because obviously I'm maybe not as nerd on the red pill, even though I've read many books on it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's good to give me a little bit of insight to the rabbit hole. And that's totally, I totally understand where you're coming from about helping guys and just not them being dissuaded from potentially seeking help, instead of zeroing themselves out. When it comes to that, I'm maybe a bit hardline, but if you're not curious enough to actually see what something stands for from its source material and just focus on what third-party people say, then you deserve the outcome you get. Because I'll tell you something, I've learned something, many things from following the mainstream, and they tend to be generally a good indicator of what not to do or what not to believe. And you can only know that by just being curious enough to actually look into the material yourself. And if guys are as influenceable as listening to the mainstream media, no matter how many times they've lied to you, no matter how many times they got it wrong, then that's on them.
Yeah.
But ideally, in an ideal world, you would want, let's say a fair treatment of the red pill. Fact of the matter, we don't live in an ideal world, and even though you may not seek validation, at least proper acknowledgement would be appreciated, but to be honest, it should not be expected. Well, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I kind of want to give a little anecdotal story here about something that happened to me when I was actually still in high school. I remember this was like in 2016, 2015, and Vice back then, they had like really good stories and shit. They had like good where they would send their news reporters out to like active war zones and shit. I'm like, yo, this is badass. Yeah. We're seeing like all that shit. And they brought up one. This is when they're starting to transition away from that into like more kind of like libtard shit. They had a news reporter in London, out of all places, go to one of these men going their own way, or I forgot what it was. It was a self-improvement thing, but basically I was watching their video, and they put a light on the guys. Obviously I was a teenager, right? I was just a kid. I didn't know any better, and also I was plugged in, so being unplugged would have been grateful drastically to my life. But when I saw the video, I was like, damn, these guys are losers. They can't get bitches and shit. And obviously I'm in high school, like bitches all around and shit. You know what time it is in high school and shit. It's just it is what it is. And so I'm like, damn, they're fucking lames. Like, I'm thinking they're fucking pathetic. Fucking a few years later, I'm like over here zeroing out. I find Rollo's books. I'm like, yo, imagine for a second I didn't listen to that video, what they were saying and putting upon those guys, and I went out and did some research on myself and understood what they were trying to actually get across and what they were trying to help. They weren't hurting no one. They were just trying to self-improve. And now I find myself in that kind of same stage as them. I'm not going to some fucking PUA rally. I'm just doing the work on myself, just understanding the material and maxing out Trinity. But I'm like, think about all those times that there could have been kids like me that they were truly zeroing out and they accidentally black pilled and ended everything because they saw some Vice video and they didn't realize, and like you said too, it's, if they're dumb enough to not do their own research, sure, but again, I was just a fucking kid, man. I didn't care about researching some shit that didn't apply to me. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. But Jeremy, you mentioned a few things here. It's like the shit that didn't apply to you zeroing out. When you zero out, you're asking yourself questions. You look inwardly. You're trying to find answers. Guys don't function in a vacuum. It's like you problem solve. You just Google, just YouTube, just any of those things. You'll find, there'll be a bit of everything. There'll be some good, some not so good, some really rubbish. And it's up to you as an individual to kind of like filter the wet from the chaff, separate the wheat from the chaff. Once you understand, what the red pill stands for from your own research, that's great. And look, I understand that anecdote. You're at school, you're just looking at men going their own way. You just think, oh, incels, you know. And but at the end of the day, it's like it's about being empathetic, of understanding. Okay, where it's a bit with women. Why they are the way they are like that? Or how's those people? Why are they thinking the way they think? And that curiosity will basically bring you that enlightenment that will enable you to place yourself from a mindset perspective of where do I stand? What's my because what I remember Vice, when I think it was maybe in the early 2010, when they're going to Warzone before they go into the Leap Star stuff. Yeah, they were kind of that edgy thing. But now with the internet, it's like media, even alternative media, is so passé. It's like, especially kids now, they are a few clicks away from getting the information, and it's or even then, you just go on Quora. I mean, sometimes it's quite funny seeing stuff on Quora and Reddit, and just looking at things, and you'll see a lot of patterns. You'll start making the links without even having the red pill being mentioned. But then it's about how deep you want to get, how deep you want to know the information.
And I like what you said. It was your level of empathy at the time, how that played a real big factor. And no, I agree a lot on that. Definitely lack of empathy for their position. I think as we grow up as men, we start getting a little more empathetic, and that definitely did help. And I did want to... Oh, go ahead.
No, it's fine. No, I was acknowledging.
I did want to ask you about a few other tweets that I've seen floating around. Obviously, you're an older, matured guy. Just a quick question. Have you been married or plan on getting married?
No, never been married. Been in a long-term relationship.
Okay.
And I'm in my mid-30s.
Okay. And what are your thoughts, right? Because nowadays, there's very low marriage rate and what seems like to be just constant divorce at every corner, right? What is your thoughts on that, marriage and divorce, and what is a potential solution that you believe, from your experience, could help the current landscape?
I would say it's interesting when it comes to marriage. You'll tend to find that the people that are married tend to be on the higher end of the social spectrum when it comes to money. However, we have less marriage. The divorce rates is lower than it used to be, but people get married less. When it comes to the reason why marriage has shifted and the divorce are rising, is we want less from a marriage of, let's say, of reason, but more of a marriage out of love. When you have arranged marriage, or when marriage was somewhat constrained by some type of societal norms, you had social shaming that was associated with marriage, that basically held women into marriages, and most of the time they didn't necessarily like. But it was regulating their hypergamy through social shaming. Now that basically we stop the social shaming, it's almost like you can have an OnlyFans. It's empowering.
Right.
Come to that stage.
Yeah.
There's literally no dams left to be broken. So I'm not happy is enough.
Yeah.
For women to basically. So you're thinking, okay, fine. Well, then what am I getting out of marriage? For most guys, they'll be asking. Well, not much. But to be honest, I believe that the lack of marriage is on both sides. Most guys don't want to get married because they don't see much benefit. I'm sure there's still a lot of blue pill guys that want to get married. But most of the time, women don't find the benefit of getting married to a guy because they're not going to get much out of them because the economic situation of most guys is not that great. And they'd be like, well, outside of flexing on the IG or with your engagement ring, like, you know, like they will want to get married to a high flyer. Hell yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Uh, but Bob from accounting,
Nah.
yeah, maybe, but it's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, you'll be surprised when they're 30, they may consider Bob of accounting from accounting.
Epiphany
When
phase.
they're 30,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
wall.
When they start 37, 38, geriatric pregnancy, yeah, snap call, buffing accounting. Yes, present, I am here. I'm going to impregnate you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but they will only consider the guy until the way they perceive their last time for security. In terms of solutions, uh, uh, they can change the marriage laws, but I don't hold much hope on that. I don't hold much hope. As long as you'll have guys that will still basically marry the girls.
Yeah. Blue pills.
Uh, it's it's the same thing with when I was talking about proxy prostitution is because beta boxing and simping for money has gone to ridiculous levels that we open Pandora's box and there's no real coming back. So if you want to basically have a relationship or even get married, there's somewhat of a more explicit transaction that is happening of you keep me entertained, you keep the infrastructure, you keep everything that I want, and trying to make me happy and trying to make me unhappy, and I won't basically rip you off financially. That's kind of the trade-off you're gonna go for. What for? Maybe having 5 days a month at the best.
Yeah. No, yeah, the solution seems very grim for right now, at least the landscape that we're in right now. People talk about, oh, there's a pendulum swing and there's it's gonna go back. No, I have to agree with Rolo on this. Like, I think those guys are kind of gonna get sick of it and they're just gonna destroy the pendulum altogether, and it's just gonna be a complete restart from scratch, whether it be a war or something, which is most likely the fucking what's going to happen, which I am hoping that doesn't happen, right? I hope things get better than before, we restart all of society, but it's just looking like that, man. It's looking like that.
Uh,
you know
if a war comes, it's generally, I'd say, looking at history and looking at different, political upheavals, it's a moment that basically people cannot put food on their plate and cover their basic need, that they start feeling empathetic upon bigger problems than themselves
right.
because they impact them.
Right.
Until we reach that point, no, unless external type of war
Scenario.
driven type of
Yeah,
scenario.
yeah, I hope that doesn't
Yeah,
happen. I'm just saying, just spitballing out there. That's probably that's probably when
yeah,
this all is gonna go down the drain and all this
yeah,
bullshit's gonna end. But fucking man, just
yeah.
adapt, I guess, for now, right?
Like what's his name? Like Brad Pitt said in Moneyball to one of the baseball scout, adapt or die.
Yeah, I like that. Adapt or die. Yeah, that's why I fuck with the Red Pill a lot. It's just a lot of
Yeah,
adaptation.
yeah.
So now, so you mentioned you're in your mid 30s, so you're actually fucking basically at your peak sexual market value, man. You're right fucking there. Holy shit, that's crazy. Um, when did you like get um like game savvy? Like, how long was that accumulation before you would consider yourself game savvy? And how are you practicing staying up to date with knowing little things like text game and when to text back and double text, and like, because I see you do a lot of threads. Obviously, it's an answer, it can answer itself, but I want your kind of perspective on, oh, okay, am I gonna sit here and just do what I've been doing this whole time, or am I gonna adapt and move forward? And also any golden nuggets of knowledge that you've learned in your experience with game that you can share with me and the audience.
Yeah, of course. So it's quite interesting that you think that you'd say I'm at my peak around my mid 30s when it comes to sexual market value. I would actually have another take.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Go
that's
ahead.
where more it's my black pill side of things. Because it's, I originally started having, let's say, an intermediate level from 18 to 21 in game, could get like relatively decent results. Um, However, I'd say I hit my peak in game, and it was like around the 29 to I even say 28 to 32. That's where I got like the massive, and I would say that's around the peak for guys, around the late 20s, early 30s. Um, both from just experience, knowing yourself better,
Yeah.
but as well, you're not young enough to look like a child, but you're not having taken the age pill where you feel like you look like a little bit more weathered. So both of this coming into play, you have like this strong force. Whereas when you become like in the mid 30s or like late 30s, what happens is you can still. I mean, I'm in better shape now than I was when I was in my 20, between 28 and 32.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you do feel like you're older than, let's say, your 20x years old girl. So most likely the 25 plus you can still game, you can still you can still interact with, but the 25 less you'll start to look at your old type of thing. That's something that, whereas when you're 29, 30, you're still kind of like you still game. Um, Obviously, if you look lower than your age, then don't tell your age, or just say lower. I remember, I remember I was 29 and I started talking to this girl. She was 19. It's like, oh, you're. That's when I started being
What the fuck?
self-conscious.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that was quite funny. In terms of keeping up to date, I mean, I don't game much. No. Like sometimes I just chit chat very quickly on, like kind of I basically meet some girls and I basically have a great conversation, but very light, not much. When I go out, I go drink to bars and I just interact with guys as well as with girls. I don't necessarily go night games I used to. It's more generally just light-hearted type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can know very easily whether or not that girl is interested in me. And then afterwards, what I do is kind of like, all right, let me sort out the logistics. Is she got any plans afterwards? Does she live far away? Is she with friends? Um, how into me is she? Does she does she does she run with my compliance test? All right. So it's kind of like you filter out very quickly. But I'm not running volume. It's kind of like if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then I use dating apps, kind of more from an observation type of setup,
Mm-hmm.
where I look at, okay, what are they responding to? Um, if I basically set my profile in a certain way, or if I use prompt, does it change that much the outcomes? Um, and when it comes to text game, I just basically mirror a lot the energy that I get. If I don't get much energy, I'm not putting more into it. And sometimes if I feel the right energy, I will go against specific type of rules where I don't overtext, i.e., because it shows too much investment. Or I'll just basically try to make sure to get to the date as fast as possible. Um, and what I do now is kind of also I test trade the level of interest of a girl by seeing how into me she is by just basically calling her, asking her to come straight to mine. Because to be honest, I don't even want to date that much anymore because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the bandwidth for it. I've been with enough girls that they're not that much different.
Yeah.
And what you will realize, and that's one of the key things, what happens once you pass 32, pass 33, is you're not getting controlled by your Johnson as much. You have that
Mm.
discernment. You have like, I can walk away. It's not a problem. Everything, everything's good. And from that, you realize how much you were a slave to the poon in the past. And that's why I'm saying, don't do things with the expectation of getting something from women, because even if you do get what you want from them, you still feel somewhat stolen of your own self. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you get what you want, but at what cost? That's
Yeah.
always what I ask myself, at what cost?
Okay, that's interesting.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and just the last bit is um, I do also keep aware of what's happening out there. I've got a few friends that are still there, still in the game and all this, so I interact with them, and they always give me feedback, a bit more from the field. But even myself, even though I don't date as much, I don't interact with girls as much. I mean, for example, there was still one that came this weekend, but I'm not, yeah, uh, I'm not as much in the field, but they keep me abreast of what's happening.
Yeah. And any little golden nuggets that you've learned of knowledge from this time that you can share with us that like really helped you out? Obviously, you said at certain level or certain age you start realizing they're kind of all the same and like what's it all worth. But what's for someone that's just getting started out there and really having this feet in the water? What kind of knowledge or golden nugget would you want to share with them?
Yeah, right. So for a beginning, for a self starter, is uh, don't get butt hurt, especially if you're working on volume.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get butt hurt by rejection. Even the top level guys, they get rejected 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But with time, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna be able to discern very quickly whether a girl is into you or not, so that by then you'll be able to self-eject way before necessary. Still, you could still use that from a perspective of I was just making small talk, small conversation with that girl, without necessarily the outlook of actually going deeper with that person. Develop that. Develop your communication skills. Develop your empathy. Develop, um, and that only comes with exposure and experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that will eventually develop your confidence and your understanding of who you are as a person. Yes, take a bit of bits and bobs of strategy from different type of material, different sources, but develop your own.
Mm. Okay.
Then afterwards, then once you understand who you are, what you stand for, you understand which are the right type of girl for you, and you'll realize that for the right type of girl for you, you don't need to do as much as you thought you need to. Say during your intermediate stage where you have to learn all this tactic, all this strategy, you'll realize that things are much simpler than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But you have to go through all the trials and tribulation for you to get to that stage. It's a journey, and it may be worth the price for some people. It may not be. Understand what your true motivation behind this is, and assess whether or not it's worth the cost. Because always consider that whatever you do is at the price of not doing something else. So if your situation requires you to focus more upon building yourself some financial backup, focus more on that, do that a little bit more on the side. But if you feel that your finances are all right, you've got a good enough setup, feel free to do that. It will mostly help you with understanding human psychology and human nature.
I like that. Yeah. So basically, like to sum it all up, like mental point of origin, make yourself the priority, not the poon poon. Don't get butthurt over rejection. Accept it, learn from it, level up from there. Your empathy, communication skills. What communication skills? Both covert and overt, you mean? And just like body language and all that?
It really depends upon who you are as an individual. Like
Yeah.
again, I was speaking with Angel of Vengeance on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and I find this takes very interesting. Even though we have two different style of game, my style of game is way more direct, way
Okay,
more
direct game.
overt.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the stuff I say is pretty outrageous.
Yeah.
Um,
Ballsy.
yeah, ballsy.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I know it fits my personality, it fits my profile, but his is way more indirect
Mm-hmm.
and way more, I would say covert,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say smoother. I can be smooth when I need to be, but it's communication is understanding what type of communication fits you and understanding what type of communication works. And
Mm-hmm.
once you understand those two variables, you're going far. In the sense of, I'll use my personal example. my communication is direct, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's very assuming positive vibe from the other person, even though she has not given me strong evidence of it. See, I say, for example, I see some girl giving me the eye at a bar. I'll go and say, it's bad manners to not introduce yourself after eye fucking someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I saw that tweet.
And
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it's like it's and there's other things. And I remember there was once I was with a couple of friends, and they were not necessarily game or rare, and there was this bar, and there were like three girls that were like literally made up all together, and they all like had somewhat of a cougary type of top.
Okay.
And I just is this a safari night out or what? No, and it's like just they made them laugh, and it's, are you all related or something? And it just made them giggle, and then it's like it just opens up the conversation. But then the two guys I was with, they were like, I can't believe that you said that.
Yeah.
Understand that you are having there to have fun. If you understand yourself to be a fun guy, if you're the fun guy, if you understand yourself to be a fun guy, and you're gonna live that image, and that it's not necessarily a wrong image, and actually communicate that vibe to them, you'll realize that how much contagious your energy can be. The energy behind whatever you say is more important than whatever you say. And if that energy is driving positive feelings towards you, then they will associate you with positive attributes.
Like state of play, basically, just initiating state of play at all times with them, and kind of mastering your own game to fit that play style.
And that's it. Thank you for summarizing a lot of the things that.
Yeah, no, you're good.
You're
good. No, I like that. No, those are great golden nuggets. And fuck, I wrote it down here. We talked about something here. You mentioned something here that I kind of found really interesting that you say, because this week I've been the past few weeks I've been going on this esoteric knowledge kind of rabbit hole, and me and my buddies were talking about something called sexual transmutation, and I've learned that if I put the pieces together, that guys in their late 30s to early 40s, they start having a low increase of a decrease of libido, and how you said where you said your Johnson doesn't control you after a certain age, and you're in that age where sexual transmutation is literally occurring, where basically you're reaching a level of genius because your libido is decreasing, thus causing some kind of semen retention, which will coagulate eventually, and all that testosterone will be basically built up. And when you manage to harness that power and that energy that you get into something a little more creative, that's when you start reaching your true peak, which guys can reach up into like their 50s and shit, which is really interesting that you said that. That point of your Johnson is not controlling you specifically after all these years. And man, I can't wait to get to that level. I'm trying to actually do it right now in a certain point, in my mid-20s, but early mid-20s type shit. So
I think that it would be even more powerful the younger than later, because the strength and the intensity of your sexual urges in your 20s, when you reallocate that into other endeavors, whether it be business oriented to basically drive more revenue or more money, it'll be more powerful. Libido is lower. Yes, you'll have a higher semen retention because you're less likely to indulge in activities that lay it out. But the intensity may not be the same. Generally, as I said, people act as a reaction to lack. And if you lack sex and you basically decide to transmute that lack of sex into energy for other endeavors, hopefully that they are money generating, then that's good. And the higher the intensity, the better. And I would say that it's the idea of sexual transmutation. I remember I read that in Napoleon Hill's book.
Napoleon Hill, yeah, that's the video where I saw that. Yeah, exactly.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
It definitely exists, and you'll see sometimes just simple anecdotes where you'll have guys, and they tend to be more on the short end in terms of height, that they felt that they had a handicap, and in order to kind of compensate the handicap, they need to make something of themselves, much more than the tall guys. And that's where, and I think that the sexual transmutation was very key and very apparent with them, because they knew that they needed to compensate for some other, through some other mechanism.
Yeah. Like Napoleon.
No, well, actually, the movie's coming out soon. So me being French, we're gonna go there with a couple of people. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go see that shit, man. It looks pretty blue pill though. I've been seeing some like people saying that it's gonna be misinterpreted. Like the true history is gonna be a little bit misinterpreted for what it truly was.
Yeah.
But Hollywood.
Yeah, especially when it's
yeah.
shit on the to rubbish on the Frenchies. So
Yeah, man, fuck it. So I have one last question for you, man, and thank you again for being so patient with me and being here and doing this. The final question I have for you is, what is your most controversial take in the overall self-improvement sphere in general that you've had, either whether it be on the timeline or that in your mind is gonna get a lot of feathers ruffled if you say this thing. So yeah, what have you thought before that's really controversial or either misunderstood that you want to address and get off your chest?
It's funny because off the top of my head, I cannot think of something specific, but somehow I thought I put some threads, and I thought that were actually quite how do you say, controversial in themselves. I remember, for example, I'll mention two things. First one is the idea of neg. The idea of neg, which is making a backhanded comment to someone, is like it got a lot of bad rap, mostly because it's become one of the key things that was castigated by non-PUA as a way to make a woman feel lower than themselves.
Yeah.
And the way it developed is kind of like an unprompted backhand compliment to someone to start a conversation. Like it has become so caricaturized now that the idea that I think that next don't work if it's unprompted. However, you can understand the idea of neg in the sense of bringing the woman's self-esteem down as a response, as a clapback to what she will say towards you, as a way to kind of like, look, you're on my level type of thing.
Yeah, parry riposte. Yeah.
Sorry, what?
It's a parry riposte type of action. It's not just a go, like attack. It's kind of like defend and attack.
Yeah, it's like a counterattack. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like a counterattack, and it's like, because it will not come from you unprompted, it will not look as it will not be looked as try hard. And the backhandedness of the compliment need to be ambiguous in the sense that she's not sure whether you're actually taking the piss with her, or you're actually, being banterish. And it is in that mental effort that you will actually get to the desired outcome. She'll be thinking, oh, is he actually making a dig at me or not?
Yeah.
But it's also associated with a vibe of looking at a lower level of reward seeking than she is. So if she's being a bitch, you're being more distant than she is being distant to you.
Yeah.
But you can also associate a little smirk with it. It's a bit hard to kind of like encapsulate just in words. It's better for you to see.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
the other one is it's something that and it's the thread that I make today, because it's something with a lot of guys they have a hard time understanding. There's always that idea with guys that there's this idea with a lot of guys that if she sits on the first date, she's a hoe. And I'm like, guys, we're not in 1963. We're in 2023. It's like hookup culture is real. Like you got average 25-year-old body counts. Major cities, you're at 20 easily.
Yeah,
It's
easily.
Easily.
Yo. Exactly.
If you don't think that,
Even in small towns too, man. Even in small towns like college, anything, anywhere. But go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, it's like that's what to you. So it's like if you think that the girl that is making you wait is pure, you're completely deluded. And
Delusional.
I'm like,
Fucking dumb.
I mean, and you know, and it's like,
Yo.
and if it's a bait if she's basically making you wait. Oh, I need to be more comfortable. No, and it's like, yes, if she sleeps with you on the first night, maybe for other reasons. She may be horny that night. She may be on the right time of the month where she's horny.
Yeah.
Or she
Stars
just wants
aligned.
to have sex.
Yeah.
Sorry?
The stars
She
have
just
aligned.
Exactly. She just wanted to have that sex that night because she broke up with her boyfriend, or because she's not had sex for a while, or she may actually like you.
Yeah. Or even cyclical phase, like her period. It's her time of the month, right? Yeah, that too.
Time of the month. There's thousands of reasons. However, if she makes you wait, it's more because it's more because you were not worth the risk of her being pop and dump. Because the guy that they really want, the guy they're really obsessed, and I've seen that, and girls cannot even comprehend their behavior, and that's something I've noticed, right? I've seen girls talking to me about guys that they really fancied and everything, and they couldn't help themselves sleeping with them on the first night, and they couldn't help themselves from talking about the guy non-stop, and the length under which they go to appease to that guy were ridiculous. So once you see this, you're just like, if she's managed to making you wait, she's not that into you, man. It's like, maybe sometimes it'll be logistics not set up right, or maybe she'll be on her period, this type of things. You can make, it's not a hard and fast rule, but on average, guys should be seeking for first date for long-term relationship rather than making you wait, because you're already working under the woman's frame, and we know how that goes.
Ooh, yeah, frame is a big one.
Yeah. But there's today I made a thread about it, because actually I was conversing with another guy I get on well with on Twitter, which is Mr. 007. So it's that's my I think that's maybe the most controversial take. And on the other side, women basically also have this lopsided view where if they sleep with the guy on the first night, it's most likely because she either doesn't care, or she feels that she's so much punching that she's basically at least got to try very fast and try my luck to kind of like keep the guy's interest. If she doesn't put out so much, but a guy that she feels is on her level, she feel like, you know what, I can't make him wait.
Yeah, no, I think that's just a good case of blue pill. The people that are just delusional and think, oh, she's just waiting to be married or some shit, so she finally gets that. I think they're just kind of lost in the blue pill, man. To be honest with you, and
not only that, because a lot of red pill guys, they think that actually. It's just I'm not special, it's just my turn. I'd say there's three main factors: old school values, low self-esteem, and scarcity mindset.
Scarcity mindset is definitely one. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because they're afraid of losing. No. And they also don't want to neg. Those are the same guys that don't want to neg, and they bitch about the neg. I love the neg, man. I fucked up one time a few months ago. I was in the gym and I did I'll tell you right now, but to touch on what you said about the neg, it's like it can be used in so many different ways. Like you could either use it as a playful manner, you could either use it as a DHV in the sense of like that defense and attack kind of scenario. Look, man, I'm just gonna tell you. So I did a cold approach in the gym. This was a few months back, and this bitch, I mean, I didn't really see her that much. It's because I thought she was another girl, and because like the day before, like two or 3 days before, I was on the treadmill, I was just chilling, doing my thing, and this girl came up next to me, and she was just like looking at me, literally staring at me, giving obvious IOIs, and I just didn't capitalize on it. I was so dumb. I was just like, nah, not right now. Then I was like thinking, fuck it. Next time I'll see her, I'll go up to her and just kind of.
The next time you see her.
Yeah. And bro, look, and no, this is where it gets worse. It was like 2-3 days later, and I was like, is that her? Because I didn't really see her face that well. Although she was like staring at me, I didn't want to make it obvious that I was just like, thirsty or whatever. So I just kind of glanced at her at the corner of my eye. And I went up to this girl that looked like her. It wasn't her, bro. I went up to the wrong bitch. And I did the cold approach. And anyway, I did the cold approach. I did like my little game shit that I got going on. And I did a neg. I implemented a neg in the sense that I wanted to play with her. I didn't mean it as a DHV, but she probably took it that way. And what I said was, because she had like somewhat like sizable arms, like she didn't have like skinny arms. Obviously, she went to gym, and I don't have like big developed fucking muscle arms. My arms are just they're, I guess you can call them like lean. They're just they have whatever on them. And I said at one point I was looking at her. We were just this in the middle of conversation. I was like, we can never be together. And she looked at me like, what do you mean? Why not? And I said, well, your arms, and I like made the body gesture, like the shoulder, they're bigger than mine. And after that moment, I was like, shit, why did I say it like that? Because she took it the wrong way. Like I didn't set it up properly. I didn't use the neg how it's supposed to be. I did it in the sense that she thought like, oh, is he really trying to like kind of DHV push me away like that? It's just I utilized it completely incorrectly, and I realized that after the fact. I was like, shit, fuck, I need to redo, but I didn't want to like back down. I had to double down. I was like, fuck it, agree and amplify. So it's just like, fuck, man, I put myself in a situation like that. Now it's like all weird and shit because it was in the gym and shit. And I know, don't shit where you eat, but I had to, man. The IOIs were there, and I thought it was the original chick, but anyway.
Hey, look, those are the stories that make the best anecdotes. Like, something.
Yeah.
Just on this, if, like, take a side approach when I approach at the gym. Say you want to approach at the gym and you see clear ROIs.
Yeah, clear. It was a clear ROI. That's why I did. Yeah.
Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Don't use neg or DHV. It's like, one thing was game. It's actually simpler than you think it is.
Yeah.
And it's about just approaching it. It's easy for me to say like that, right? But it's like, just say, hey, I'm caught you looking at me in the mirror. What's your name? No. And that's something like that. And then she'd be like, first she'll be a bit shocked the fact that you call her out, and then by just acknowledging that you've seen that, but that you want to actually talk to her.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, it's all right. It's so, sometimes it's just as simple as just introducing yourself. No need to complicate things.
Yeah. No, I like that. And no, I thought that was just a funny story that I did. I was like, yo, what the fuck am I doing, bro? I realized it, and obviously it didn't go nowhere because of the whatever. But I don't mind, man. I'm able to reflect and actually, implement that for the next time. But yeah, man, that's fucking awesome, bro. We just did 2 hours. That shit felt like 30 minutes, man, honestly. Yeah. Anything else you want to say? You have any questions for me? Do you you can plug your Twitter? You can say what you have to do.
So honestly, it felt like the 30 minutes. I barely had any. It felt like a normal conversation. I really enjoyed the question. It really flew by, and to be honest, I'm more than happy to share that on my Twitter feed, or and happy for you to share that on your different type of YouTube. Social media handles.
For sure, bro. Yeah, no, I'll definitely I'll be sharing this on my YouTube because I think we had a great conversation and got a lot of places there. But did you want to say your Twitter out loud? I'll be more than happy as well to say put it in the description if you want to.
Yeah, put it in the description. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, bro. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, pleasure to speak with you. Pleasure to meet you digitally, and hopefully I'll see you on Twitter a bit longer. Soon enough.
Absolutely, man. Well, maybe we'll do this another time. And let me just call this off here real quick, guys. Thank you guys for joining us here. I really hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll catch you guys tomorrow with James Bond, Quantum of Solace in the morning. So be looking forward to that. And that's it.